Okay, good morning, students. So today we are going to take up the chapter from your book Movements, that is in the Kingdom of Fools by A.K. Ramanujan. In this chapter, the main characters are the king, the minister, guru, his disciple, thief, merchant, bricklayer, dancing girl, goldsmith, and again, rich man, that is the merchant again. Now in the kingdom of fools, both the king and the ministers were idiots. In the king and the minister did not want to run their kingdom like other kings did. So they decided to do something different. So they came to the conclusion that they should start treating the night as day and day as night. They ordered that everyone should be awake at night till their fields run uh, and run their business only after the dark and go to bed as soon as the sun came up. And anyone who disobeyed would be punished with death. So everybody in the kingdom, they started obeying the orders of their king. Not only the human beings, but also the animals, they started following what the king had already ordered them. Now, one day, what happened? A guru and a disciple arrived in the city. It was a beautiful city. If it was broad daylight, but there was no one about. Everyone was asleep. Not even a mouse was stirring. Even the cattle had been taught to sleep by day. Now the two strangers were amazed by what they saw around them and wandered around town till evening. When suddenly the whole town woke up and went about its nightly business, the two men were so hungry. Now that the shops were open, they went to buy some groceries. To their astonishment, what happened? They found that everything cost the same, just 1 rupee. No matter you buy milk, no matter you buy ghee, no matter you buy a bunch of bananas, everything will cost you the same. The guru and the disciple were delighted. They were so happy to find this truth. They had never heard of anything like this before. They could buy all the food that they wanted for just a rupee. When they had cooked and eaten, the Guru realized that this was the kingdom of fools and it wouldn't be a good idea for them to stay there. The Guru, as he was a very learned man, so he actually realized that something is wrong with this place, something is wrong with this kingdom. So he wanted to leave that place. But his disciple was so excited about the food, as he was a food lover, so he did not want to leave that place and he wanted to continue his stay there because he really wanted to eat everything that costed rupees 1 there. The guru finally gave up and said, "Do what you want, I'm going," and he left. The disciple stayed on, ate his fill every day, the bananas, the ghee, rice, wheat, and he grew fat like a street side sacred bull. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
yes,
One bright day, a thief broke into a rich merchant's house. Now, one day, what happened? A thief came into the rich merchant's house. He had made a hole in the wall and sneaked in. And as he was carrying out his loot, the wall of the old house collapsed on his head and he was killed on the spot. His brother ran to the king and complained, "Your Highness, when my brother was pursuing his ancient trade," see, ancient trade, "a wall fell on him and killed him. Now, this merchant is to be blamed. He should have built a good, strong wall. You must punish the wrongdoer and compensate the family for this injustice." And of course, the king called the minister, he questioned him, and he wanted to punish the minister, the merchant. Is it clear? He found the merchant guilty and he wanted him to be punished. But the merchant, he said that this wall was built during my father's time. So it is not my fault. It is the fault of the person who had built it. So the bricklayer was called. The bricklayer who had built the wall, he was called. And when the king found bricklayer, the accused person, right, guilty, then bricklayer also presented his point of view in front of the king, and he said No, my lord, it was not my fault. Please listen to me. It was the fault of the dancing girl who was going up and down that street that particular day. I lost my concentration and I made the wall weak. Then the king ordered his men to bring the dancing girl in the court. And of course, the dancing girl was brought by the people in the court. This time, the dancing girl was not as beautiful as she was because now she had turned old. She came into the court with a stick in her hand and trembling. And she also said that I'm extremely sorry, my lord, but this is not my fault. This was the fault of the goldsmith, right? Who who made me go up and down that particular day because he had not completed my order. Is it clear to everybody? He made
Yes,
so many
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
excuses.
Yeah.
Said he would give it now and he would give it then, and so on all the day. He made me walk up and down to his house a dozen times. That was when the bricklayer saw me. It's not my fault, my lord. It's the damn goldsmith's fault. And the king now ordered his men to bring goldsmith. The king's men, they brought goldsmith to the court, and when the goldsmith came, he said, I'm a poor goldsmith, sir. It's true. I made this dancer come many times to my door. I gave her excuses also, but I couldn't finish her making her jewelry before I finished the rich merchant's order. They had a wedding coming and they wouldn't wait. You know how impatient rich men are, right? So again, the king called the rich merchant that can you name him, and the rich merchant was called again in the court. And what merchant said, it is the same merchant who came in the beginning, and he said it wasn't me but my father who ordered the jewelry. He is he is guilty, not me. But of course the king, he said, it's true, your father is a true murderer, he is dead, but somebody must be punished in his place. So you have inherited everything from that criminal father of yours, his riches as well as his sins. I knew at once, even when I first set eyes on you, that you were at the root of this horrible crime. You must die. And see, this was a blame game that was going on here in the king's court, right? And this shows the the quality of the king, that how foolish he was and how foolish his minister was too. Is it clear? And later on, what happened? The king ordered his men to make a new stake for the execution. Now, as the servants sharpened the stake and got it ready for the final impaling of the criminal, it occurred to the minister that the rich merchant was somehow too thin to be properly executed on the stake. Then what happened? Then suddenly it struck to his mind, see how foolish he was, that he did not want the stake to get wasted. So he was ready to uh, give punishment to any innocent person. So he ordered his men to find a man fat enough to fit the stake. And of course, in the whole kingdom, it was Disciple who was able to fit in that stake because he made himself so fat because of the banana, rice, ghee, wheat, whatever he had eaten over there. And he was brought to the place where the execution was going on. While he was waiting for death, he prayed to his guru in his heart, asking him to hear his cry wherever he was. The guru saw everything in a vision. He made magic powers. He could see far, and he could see the future as he could see the present and the past. He arrived at once to save his disciple, who had got himself into such a scrap through love of food. As soon as he arrived, he scolded the disciple and told him something in a whisper. Then he went to the king and addressed him, O wisest of the king, who is the greater, the guru or the disciple? And the king also replied him, Of course, the guru, no doubt, but why are you asking me? Then he said, If the guru is great or greater, then I want you to execute me first. I want you to punish me first on this stake. Now, when the disciple heard this, he understood and began to shout, Me first, you brought me here first, put me dead first, not him. The guru and the disciple now got into fight about this, that who should go first. And the king was all puzzled that what is going on here? Why both of them want to die? And he's asked the guru that we chose him because we needed a fat man for the stake. But why you want to die on this stake? Why are you asking me to put you on death first? The king gave him solemn words that I won't really reveal whatever the truth is, just tell me. The guru took him aside out of the servants, and in his ear he told him that that do you know why we want to die right now? The two of us, we have been all over the world, but we have never found a city like this or a king like you. That stake is the stake of God, God of justice. It's new. It has never had a criminal on it. So whosoever will die first on this stake will become the king of this kingdom in the next birth. And whosoever will die second will become the minister of the king of the same kingdom. He did not, so the king did not want to lose the kingdom to someone else in the next round of life. So he needed time. He ordered the execution postponed to the next day and talked in secret with his minister. It's not right for us to give over the kingdom to others in life, right? Let's go on the stake ourselves and we will reborn as a king and the minister again. Holy men do not tell lies, he said, and the minister also got agreed as both of them were fool. So they got into the trap of the guru and a disciple. So he told the executioners, we will send the criminal tonight. When the first man comes to you, put him to death first. Then do the same to the second one. Those are my orders. Don't make any mistake. That night, the king and his minister went secretly to the prison, released the guru and the disciple, disguised themselves as the two, and as arranged beforehand with loyal servants, were taken to the stake and promptly executed. Understood all of you what happened here? They disguised themselves.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when the bodies were taken down to be thrown to the crows and the vultures, the people panicked. Why they panicked? Because they found that it was the dead body of the king and their minister. So some people suddenly thought of the guru and the disciple and caught up with them as they were preparing to leave town unnoticed. We people need a king and a minister, said someone. Others agreed. They begged the guru and the disciple to be the king and their minister. It didn't take many arguments to persuade the disciple, but of course it took longer to persuade the guru, means to convince the guru. Finally, they agreed to become the king and the minister of the particular kingdom, but only one condition, that they want everything change, all the means they want back all the things back to the order again. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So with this, we end up the chapter, the king in the kingdom of fools.